Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakaचार्य Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaranda Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Iti Leela Pravishta. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakaचार्य Ashtottara Shata Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Anant Koti Vaishnavrind Ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vatsadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Appearance Day Ki Nitai Gaur Premanand. All glory to the semi-devotee. All glory to the semi-devotee. All glory to the semi-devotee. All glory to Shri Guru Shri Guru. All glory to Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನುವಾದ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕೋ ಜಗನ್ಮೋಹನ್ ಪ್ರಭು ಅವರು ಪ್ರಭುಪಾದ ಬಲಬದಿಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. So who wants translation in Kannada? Jaganmohan Prabhu will help. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So today we are observing or celebrating the auspicious appearance day of His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur Prabhupada. So I want to let you know most of my material is coming from the 3-volume book which was put together by my Guru Maharaj. If you ever get a chance, please read it. But most of it today I'm presenting, I will be talking from this, the 3-volume book. This is just volume 3 in front of me. Now before I start, I just want to let you know, Saraswati Thakur was extremely detailed. One time in his mutt, one sannyasi was strongly urging everyone to chant japa attentively and hear while chanting. So His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta replied, he himself does not hear properly, but is preaching to others about the same fault. So like that, I am sitting here on this Vyasasan. Don't practice anything which Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur can practice. I'm trying to glorify this great personality. Because he is someone who is from the spiritual world and he had love of God. We usually talk about God, but how can we control or get God under our, order is by love, like how Yashoda got. So talking about a person who is an assistant of Radharani, we say Radharani itself is a big topic. Talking about Saraswati Thakur is also an elevated topic which cannot be finished in an hour. Our life is only meant to discuss Bhaktisiddhanta or Bhakti Vedanta. The Siddhanta about Bhakti, the Siddhanta about Shastra is Bhakti. The Vedanta philosophy is the end of the Veda Shastra is Bhakti. Usually we keep names, Krishna or Dhamodara or Keshava, we approach our guru, what should we keep name? But the child or that person does not become that name. Krishna means, okay, Krishna is all attractive, your child may be attractive to you, but not to everyone. Right? So you may keep a name, but a title like Bhaktisiddhanta or Bhakti Vedanta, they are non-different from the person itself. Because every breath of Bhaktisiddhanta was truly Bhaktisiddhanta. He only spoke the Siddhanta or the Vedanta conclusions of the Shastra, which is pure devotional service. We say Shruti, Smriti, Purana Adi, Pancharatrim Vidim Vina, Aikantiki Hare Bhakti, Utpata Yaiva Kalpate. Any bhakti which is sentimental or not in accordance with Shruti, Smriti, Purana is sentimental, is a disturbance to society. Tachradda Dana Munaya, Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya, Pashyanti Atmani Chatmanam, Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. So Bhaktya is followed by the Shruti Shastras. If you see that translation, Prabhupada says Vedanta Shruti. So Bhakti Vedanta, or every breath should be Bhakti Vedanta or Bhakti Siddhanta, discussions on the topics of the conclusions of Shastra, which is Bhakti, pure devotional service or surrender to the Supreme Lord. This is what our Goswamis did. They wrote extensive literatures. Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasa Acharya, and Lord Chaitanya invented. All of them presented Bhakti according to the Shastras. Over time, unfortunately, it got butchered, it got diluted, and almost the term Vaishnavism itself was taken over by upper sampradayas. There's so many Aula, Baula, and so many upper sampradayas had come into existence that they just took over this term Vaishnavism, and they even spoiled the word Vaishnava. So people had this conception that Vaishnava is a low-class word or a bad word. And some of the sincere Vaishnavas who was there at that time, they were more to themselves. They shunned bad association, they shunned society, they just stayed in their own house or room or in their kutir or wherever. So they didn't bother much. However, there was one personality whose name is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He didn't do that. He wanted to reform society. He wanted to bring back the authority of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message. Authoritatively. He wrote hundreds and hundreds of books in Sanskrita, English, and Bengali, and also some dialects of Bengali. He also wrote a book on Urdu. In Urdu, he wrote a book on law. Saraswati Thakur also says that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had written a 3-volume book just for children. For the kids, Yauvanam, Kaumara. He had written 3 volumes, all based in question and answer format. Like sometimes you get all these National Geographic books or children's knowledge book, all in question answer format. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had done a wonderful presentation on every question a child can ask and as they grow up until teenage. He had written a 3-volume book. It remained as manuscript and unfortunately got lost. So we're suffering without that book. So he was in Puri doing all this, working. He was an ideal grahastha, as you all know. A grahastha has no time like us today. We struggle to do our rounds, and he wrote so many books, and he was doing this in Puri. And one day, Lord Jagannath came in his dream and started chastising him. I didn't bring you to Puri to simply do your work and establish legal matters. I brought you to Puri because from Mayapur he came to Puri for his magistrate job, so that he can spend some time in Puri and learn about devotional service. To just do your job, I want you to spread Vaishnava Siddhanta. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur then responded saying, I am old, I need help. I am not able to do this on my own, and the opposition is quite large. So you need to really help me. So what did he say? He said, okay, you go pray to Bimala Devi in the Jagannath temple. So he did. He prayed to Bimala Devi and requested for a staff from Lord Chaitanya's entourage to appear. And so Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur appeared in 1874, 6th of February. Appearance and disappearance. Appearance is for a person who has no karma, like us. We go through karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. Karmanam daiva netrena jantur deha upapate. We take our birth because of karma. They all take their appearance because they've been sent by the Supreme Lord. That's why we observe Appearance Day. People who are conditioned souls like us, we cannot do Appearance Day. We can, they do birthdays, but sometimes nowadays, for karmic people, they say Appearance Day. It's loosely used, but because, and Jayanti then applies only to the Supreme Lord. So he appeared in 6th February, and then an astrologer, as you know, part of Jatakarma, you call an astrologer, and he reveals some details about the child. He put together the chart and he said, this child has all the great symptoms of a great personality. The child will be a world famous teacher on the ultimate goal of life. And then, and at the same time, he was also named Bimala Prasad. And as you know, they had the famous Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, and the chariot, the cart, stopped there for 3 days in front of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. And then they had to take the child out, and then they put him at Lord Jagannath's feet on the altar. And then the child reached out to the deity, and the garland fell on him and garlanded him. And you also know that when he was born, the umbilical cord wrapped around him like a Brahmin thread. So there was many symptoms, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also taught him Hare Krishna as a child, and he started chanting. Even in his young age, he composed Sanskrit verses. He had an exceptional ability to comprehend and remember. Now, if he reads anything one time, even 50 years later, he could produce that verbatim as is. He had such a photographic memory. They call Shruti Dara, that one time you hear, you can always remember. And he was a voracious reader. I mean, even though he could learn and read everything one time and remember verbatim, he read Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat 108 times. And he requested all his followers to do the same. Now, one time is 2 times hard, but he read 108 times, even though he can remember everything on reading once. That much was his attraction for Lord Chaitanya. He was also known as the living encyclopedia. So, like Prahalad, there's a small boy. Prahalad was not into any frivolous sports, and all this. He would always preach to all the boys, even in the Gurukula. Saraswati Thakur was something like that. He was just not into any hobbies, drawing class, like I'm putting my son in drawing class, nothing like that. He was only into satisfying the mission of life. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur immediately saw that this boy has all the symptoms of what he had prayed for, to carry forward Sanatana Dharma. So he enrolled him in school. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually writes in a Sharanagati book, Jadavidya Jivake Karaya Gada. Material education makes one an ass. But still, he enrolled him in material education because at that time, 1910 and late 1800s, we were under the British Empire, and having a Western education or having a degree was extremely prestigious. You'd be 1 in a million. Unlike today, even a sweeper's son is studying in college and getting a degree. So he wanted to put them, because he wanted Bhaktisiddhanta to preach to high society, high leaders, and be culturally attuned with all of them. So he was admitted into an English convent school. And in English convent school, I studied in Christian school as a child, we always have a Bible class, something on Bible. So this teacher started talking about Bible, and knowing Saraswati Thakur, the champion, he stood up and said, in your Bible or in your prayer, if you have studied in a Christian school, the Father's prayer, "O Father who art in heaven, give us your daily bread." So Saraswati Thakur immediately said, your scripture prayers is, give us your daily bread, resembles the Vidya Shaktayas, that is these corrupted followers of Shakta, of Durga, who keep asking, demanding. The Supreme Lord is the object of devotion, not your servant. Those who take name wanting to serve, wanting him to serve you, have no devotion in their hearts. That's why when we have these 4 rasas, we have Vatsalya, Dasya, then we have Sakya, we have Vatsalya, then we have Madhurya. In that there is no rasa or relationship where Krishna is the father and I am the son. There's a Vatsalya Bhava where we are the parents and Krishna is the son or child. It's friendship, servitude, or Madhurya, or conjugal love. But there is no I am the son, you are the father, because that can never be a devotional service. There's no devotion to it, because you'll keep asking, Father, give me this, give me that, give me that. That's what he argued about. So by age 7, he had memorized all Bhagavad Gita shlokas by age 7, and he even knew the meaning. And he went on to learn Sanskrita grammar and Jyotisha. And when he learned Sanskrita grammar, he learned all these sandhis, samasas, all these vibhaktis in 3 days. And he learned the whole Ashtadhyayi Panini grammar in 3 months. So this teacher told him, people take a lifetime to learn Panini. You can't finish like this in 3 months. You need to spend a whole lifetime. And it will give you liberation. So Bhaktisiddhanta, as usual, he gave back saying, my goal is not to learn grammar or liberation. I am here to attain the affection of Hari and perform selfless service for Sri Hari. So that's what he gave his grammar teacher. So, and then at age 14, he translated the Jyotisha Shastra, Siddhanta Shiromani and Surya Siddhanta. Now these are all more technical shastras of calculation, not prediction. So because he had to challenge this another wrong science that had come by Bapudev Shastri, who had also presented Surya Siddhanta. So he was such a stickler for truth, because this Bapudev Shastri Surya Siddhanta started incorporating or trying to show how it is in line with Western science or Western astronomy. And our Vedic culture does not agree anything with Western science mostly. So being Siddhanta Sarasvati, he immediately challenged it. And for that, he actually received the title Siddhanta Sarasvati. So at age 15, he received the title Siddhanta Sarasvati. And even at age 15 or as a young boy, not only was he a stickler for truth in just this, give us your daily bread or Jyotisha Shastra, but even from a young age, he would attack Mayavad also. Even in his young age, he went with a group of people to Pandit Ishwara Chandra Vidyasagar. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur learned Sanskrita grammar from this person. And this person had written a book saying, "O Supreme Lord, you're full of consciousness and formlessness." So Saraswati Thakur immediately challenged him, and he started, giving him his Shastra and defeated him also at a very young age. So he became extremely proficient in Vedangas, all the Vedangas of Shastra, which is Shiksha, Jyotisha, Vyakarana, Chandas, Nirukti. And he had gained high respect in society. He was known as a highly intellectual person, highly aristocrat person. He was known as a person of moral and virtuous qualities. Of all this. And then suddenly there's this one person he meets who just gave a fig about all these things. He's like, I don't care. That was Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur writes, when out of false ego, I was thinking I'm a great scholar of mathematics because of Jyotisha and physics and philosophy. Let any big Pandita come at any time, day or night. I will cut his propositions to pieces. At that time, I got the darshana of the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev. He ignored everything that was previously appreciated in me, my truthfulness, my moral and pious values, my intellectualism, knowing them to be of very little value. When I saw he ignored whatever good in me, I realized how good he must be himself. What inconceivable wealth he possessed. Who could neglect so many good qualities in me? Being neglected by him, I understood that there was no one more fallen and contemptible than myself. That was my actual identity. Then he goes on to say, I had understood that if people of this world do not receive the same jolt as I did, their consciousness will not awaken. So this is how we started. Well, that's why every time he spoke, he would give a jolt to everyone, because he had realized that. And you know the pastime where he kept going to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji would say, I will ask Mahaprabhu. And then every day would go and ask, did you ask? Oh, sorry, I forgot today. Did you ask? No, I forgot. And then finally one day, yeah, I asked, but I didn't get a response. And then Saraswati Thakur was willing to give up his life. And finally Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, after all that test, accepted him. Because Bhaktisiddhanta knew how much ever knowledge one has, how much ever Vedanga, Shiksha, Veda, whatever you know, but if there is no surrender, like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj had full surrender, well, what more do you need? The Shastras say, surrender to the Supreme Lord. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj gave 3 instructions to Bhaktisiddhanta. Not to make any disciples, first instruction. Not to associate with anyone, second instruction. And third instruction, don't go to Calcutta, because of the world of Maya at that time. That to Calcutta was a crown jewel of the British Empire, as it said, right? Don't go to Calcutta, world of Maya. Now Saraswati Thakur saw himself like Ramanuja, because you know the famous story where Ramanuja was given the mantra. He had some 60 times he went and kept begging this one Vaishnava for this mantra, and he was given Om Namo Narayana. Then next minute he went and spread it to the whole world. And then he asked him, why did you do this? You're going to go to hell. He said, it's okay if I go to hell, but the rest of the world will at least get saved. So, seeing that, he offered his obeisances to Ramanuja and said, you are my guru. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he took a lot of inspiration from Ramanuja. He saw himself like that. Even his sannyas of he had took inspiration from Ramanuja. So he, in a way, he broke it, but he didn't break it also. Because he did not make any disciples. He said, every disciple I took on inspires me more and more in Krishna Seva, Hari Seva. So they're reminding me more and more of Krishna. So they're not my disciples, they're my gurus. He said, I never associated with anyone, because association means accepting food and exchanging of food, exchanging of your mind and confidence, accepting and receiving gifts like the nectar of instruction. I only accepted from my Guru Maharaj. And then he said not to go to the world of Calcutta. I never went to Calcutta. I went to Gaudiya Math, which is Vaikuntha. So I never went to the world of Maya. So because of him, he did those 3 instructions. We got Prabhupada and we are here. So after initiation, he continued to support Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and very soon, when he was supporting Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he helped him with this printing, publication of books. He had actually learned so much about printing that if the printing machine broke, he himself could fix it. And then while doing this process, he actually learned all the Sandarbhas, all the Goswami literature. So he had the opportunity to learn all this from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And over time, very soon after his initiation in 1914, Bhaktivinoda Thakur left the world. He left his body. And a year after, in 1915, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj left his body, just a year after. So, and then there's a popular story of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj's Samadhi. Everyone was interested in his Samadhi, because if they put his Samadhi in their mud, people will come to visit and they'll get donation. But Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, as you know, he said no one is allowed to touch, and there was a big fight, and then his powerful brahmacharya can be seen there, where he said, who has not touched a woman in the last 1 year? Okay, 6 months, 1 month, 3 days, and and then the police or the guy who was like the referee there asked, how are you going to test if they're honest or not? He said, I'll accept their word for it. And they actually walked out slowly, and he was the only one left. So after Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj left, he felt lonely, he was all alone. He was like, who is going to chastise me? Who is going to teach me the truth? To who will I show my articles and my publications and my writing? To who am I going to show? And at that time, he was actually writing his Nectar of Instruction commentary to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he was very morose, he was very sad. Unlike now, where we can go to any city, we look up website, what time is Sunday feast, what time is prasadam. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur didn't have that kind of luxury. He had to set up everything on his own. Like even Prabhupada, when he went to America, similar situation. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur felt very lonely. So he was actually so depressed that he stopped working on his Nectar of Instruction commentary, and he was just performing intense Harinam Bhajana. And then, doing so, one night he had a dream. He saw all the Panchatattva. He saw the 6 Goswamis. He saw Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, and so many other associates of Lord Chaitanya. And they said, Saraswati, why are you worrying? Begin the task of establishing Shuddha Bhakti. Distribute Gauravani universally. Expand service to Gauranama, Gauradama, and Gaurakama, the desire of Gauranga. With unbreached enthusiasm, broadcast Bhaktisiddhanta. We are eternally with you, ready to help. The support of unlimited, immeasurable opulence and boundless scholarships awaits the blessing to serve your mission. All will manifest when required. Come forward with full strength to distribute the message of Mahaprabhu's Prema Dharma throughout the globe. No worldly hindrance or menace will be able to obstruct this undertaking of yours. We are forever with you. So next morning the disciple said, Bhaktisiddhanta's face was just beaming with effulgence. And he immediately resumed to his writing work, nectar of instruction. And very soon, to continue his preaching, he took sannyas. And then when he took sannyas, he did a 3 danda for himself. We body, mind, words, we give 3 danda, unlike the Eka danda sannyas. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he put an axe on the top of the 3 danda to cut all non-devotional theories. Because his Guru mantra says, Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine. I will not tolerate anything which is against the Siddhanta or Rupanuga. Usually we say, Trinada, peaceful nature, you have to tolerate like a tree. But Bhaktisiddhanta, you tolerate personally, but anything against Krishna, he would just not tolerate. Anything saying Krishna is formless or non-devotional, no, he wouldn't tolerate. He would speak up. And then on the same day he took sannyas, he established Chaitanya Mata in Mayapur. And he was the first actually to, if you see in history, to establish matas like Shankaracharya and Madhvacharya. They established all these matas to propagate preaching and deity worship. So he started establishing all these matas. And he gave, what is the meaning of mata? He said, Matanti vasanti yatra paramartha shikshartina iti mataha. Mata means a place wherein resides persons desirous to learn the ultimate purpose of life. Then he also said, Shiksha Mandirera Nama Mata. A temple of instruction is called Mata. In his Mata, he wanted active preachers. It was not like a retirement home to just sit, eat and have a jolly time. He said, Prana Ache Tandra Se Heto. One who has life can preach. He wanted everyone actually to be on the road, except one pujari and a person who would cook the boga and offer to the Lord, the pujari, and some people who are doing his publication work. Everyone should be on the road for bhiksha or book distribution or preaching. No one should be, inside the temple. Sometimes he would not give much notice. He would just say, go ahead, go to this place, go to that place. And if you say, Guru Maharaj, I need some time to pack my bags. He's like, no, you go, we'll send your belongings later, you go. Then this one German disciple of his, being Western, German, very organized, disciplined, Guru Maharaj, I usually take 3 months to get organized. At least give me 1 week notice. Saraswati Thakur said, I get information only 5 minutes. How can I give you 1 week advance notice? So, how can I give you a 1 week ahead notice? And Saraswati Thakur himself would regularly travel. Most of the acharyas like Shankara, Madhva, and even Lord Chaitanya and the Goswamis, they would all mostly walk across India. Like Ramanuja went all the way to Kashmir, Madhvacharya went all the way to Badrika Ashram, they walked. Whereas Saraswati Thakur was the first person almost, if you see in this history of acharyas, to use train. The British Empire had set a network of trains, and they had set up the train for their own sense gratification, not to help the people, but they were looting the country with these trains. With the network of train they had all over India, the trains were set up that it goes to the coastal areas like Madras or Mangalore or Bombay, loot everything from the interior of India, send it to the coast on their ship, goes to London. So Saraswati Thakur still, he used the trains just to preach, because as we say, books are the basis, utility is the value, principle is the value. So he knew how to get to point A to point B quick to preach the message of Krishna. And then, when traveling like this on train one time, he went to an advocate's house where he spoke non-stop Harikatha for several hours. Then that host said, why don't you take some rest, a tiring journey. You've come to Guwahati from Calcutta, it's a tiring journey. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, Harikatha is in itself rest. Any symptom for it dispels fatigue to divert attention, and to divert attention even for a second from Harikatha to any other endeavor is a symptomatic of envy to Krishna. So non-stop Harikatha. And I mean, he was not, the person who would say, no, it's okay, don't worry, relax or something. He would always speak, and he would correct, because he always wanted to set up Shuddha Bhakti. And he would always correct all his disciples, not just these advocates or people. For example, one time a sannyasi came back from preaching, and they gave him some poha, because he had not had honored his prasadam. Then he sees, oh, poha for me? I gave such a wonderful class. Everyone appreciated. Make puris. So Saraswati Thakur said, Karilam sannyasi, hey gelo vilasi. I made him sannyasi, but he's becoming a sense gratifier. Another time, one disciple goes to Saraswati Thakur and says, Guru Maharaj, please ask Ananta Vasudev to sing Yashomati Nandana. He sings so sweetly. Saraswati Thakur said, this is a wrong attitude. All kirtana is for Krishna's pleasure, not for you to enjoy and hear. Sri Chaitanya Deva has not asked us to be proficient in high-class music or well-practiced, accomplished musicians and instruments. He has asked us to perform Hari Kirtana. That which is meant for gratifying our mundane senses is not Hari Kirtan. Another time, he would, even though he had big offerings for the deities, he would eat very simple, because he didn't want to engage his tongue in sense gratification. He would eat chapati or some shark cooked in cow dung fuel. And then sometimes they put some delicious items there too. So, after he finishes, the plate goes down. He would call the disciple back and say, okay, now you tell me who ate the tasty items and who went for honoring real prasad. So he was so detailed that you would want to know who is actually advancing and who is not, because he has to give the dose accordingly and train them. So he was extremely detailed. Then another time, a gentleman came to the Gaudiya Math, and he saw this one brahmachari was flinging a chair at someone else. Out of anger, they had a fight, some disagreement. So, and then he immediately ran away. Arey, bapre, I same problem outside here also. So he went away. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur heard. So he asked for that gentleman to be called, and he came. He said, okay, why did you come to the temple that day? He said, for Bhagavan, darshan of the Lord. Tune dosh darshan karke you left. You did dosh darshan and you left. You're only looking at faults. So, that person got transformed and he came. So, when we come to temple, we are not coming for fault darshana. We are coming for darshana of the Supreme Lord. Actually, the darshan also you should understand. Sometimes, people say, I am going to go see the deities in the temple. As though deities waiting for you for your darshan. We are always coming to a temple to be seen by the deity. We take darshan. On this subject, Drigdrishya Vichaya, he wrote extensively, which is extremely complicated. Even if someone goes and says, I have seen your father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said, you have not seen. You would challenge. Because you should say, I have taken darshana of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I have been fortunate to be seen by him. So this was his mood. He always established Shuddha Bhakti in everything. And, on Mayavad, I have something on Mayavad here. I don't have to say how much he said. Mayavad, as you know, is the ancient enemy of Vaishnavism. The greatest offender, because it promises impossible. It makes the infinite Supreme Lord, equates the infinite Supreme Lord with the Jiva. And it eradicates or kills the life of Bhakti, which is Sevya Sevaka Bhava. So, at one time, Saraswati Thakur, actually in a train, was telling few disciples a story. Once a Mayavadi follower, a Brahma Upasaka, was unable to recover a loan from one of his people who took loan from him. We call it debt, the debtor. He was not paying back the loan. So this person filed a court case. And in the court, the debtor said, you are Brahman, I am Brahman. Since both are Brahman, the money is with Brahman. Why are you sweating for the loan? So Saraswati Thakur would, what is the difference? You would challenge like that. And then you would use names. You would openly throw out names and challenge them. Some Samaj, you would say. Some Samaj, they were praying. Nirakara Tomara Charana Deki. Oh, formless, I see your feet. Saraswati Thakur immediately, where his feet come in formless. He gave a talk for an hour there. And then Gandhiji had come up with an whole untouchability, he had come up 10 questions and answers was presented in the Hindustan Times. Saraswati Thakur immediately took those 10 questions and he gave answers to it in the Harmonist, which is actually in this book. He gave such detailed Shastric answers. And it was so at that time because Mayavad conception, Lord Chaitanya's message had been so diluted that Mayavad started growing. This is what happens, over time in dilution, Mayavad enters, creeps in. So much that people started challenging even this, they knew Mahaprabhu left Shikshashtaka, they knew Trinadapi Sunechana, but they were like, how can Trinadapi Sunechana be in agreement with Aham Brahmasmi? Because Shankaracharya had put 4 Mahavakyas. And the interpretation of these 4 Mahavakyas he gave was the conclusion or essence of Vedic philosophy. But Saraswati Thakur said, the true import of Aham Brahmasmi is Trinada Pisunichena, for it is the constitutional dharma of the jiva to constantly chant in humility holy names of Krishna. And he explained, extensively how Lord Chaitanya's Mahavakya is all within Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Saishna, Amani Namanadana, Kirtanaya Sadahari. For example, Amani, Aham Brahmasmi corresponds to Trinadapi Sunichena and Amani. Tattvamasi corresponds to Taroriva Saishnana and Manada. Pragnanam Brahma corresponds to Kirtanaya and Ekam Eva Advitiyam Hari to Hari. And the inner meaning of the Shruti statement he said is Advaya Jnana Krishna is Brajendra Nandan in Braja. All this he gave extensively in his Chaitanya Charitamrita commentary, which is called Anubhashya. In that book, he presented more than 200 scriptural sources, all from Shruti. If you have observed in Prabhupada's commentary, just to show the pramana that Lord Chaitanya, Supreme Lord, there are so many references, all coming from Bhaktisiddhanta. Like that, for everything, he presented so many verses to set up the authority, because at that time Mahaprabhu's message was challenged, the authority was challenged from Shruti. Even in his Chaitanya Bhagavat, there's a Dasa Prabhu Beda. On that, he gave 88 references, 22 from Shvetasvara Upanishad, 21 from Brahma Sutras, 16 from Mundaka Upanishad, 9 from Chandogya Upanishad, 8 from Katha Upanishad, 7 from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 4 from Taittiriya Upanishad, and 1 from Rig Samhita. This was his scholarship, extensive, knowledge. His contribution that way and service to Shastra was extremely high quality, very scholarly and tremendous. Especially at that time, as I said, because Lord Chaitanya's message was challenged. I remember seeing one devotee showed me Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's commentary on the Bhagavatam. Just that first verse, Janmadhya Siyatya, he had 40 pages back to back, which makes it 80 pages. And if you have read his language, extremely compact, extremely packed. One line will be some 3-4 words. And that one line you can take a lifetime to understand that one line, because it's so packed. Even if his English, if you have read his Brahma Samhita. So one time, one person, in the audience said, I can't understand your English. I can't understand your Bengali. He said, I am speaking neither English nor am I speaking Bengali. I am speaking transcendental language. Simply give oral reception to it. Over time, you will understand. Now, that's how he would speak. So, and he made sure everyone in his mata, the Gaudiya Mat, was well versed in philosophy. He wanted some highly intellectuals to learn more. Even the less intellectuals, he would make sure they would at least know something called Dashamul Tattva of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Amnaya Praha, the Dashamul Tattva starts. It's a very simple 10 points. First point, Shastras are the authority. And then the 9 Prameyas, or the 9, what does the Shastra speak about? Tattvamiya Harim is Supreme Lord is Krishna, the composition of the Jiva. 10 points is very wonderful. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he sent his English book, Lord Chaitanya and his precepts, to Canada and the Western country, even in that book, he presented those 10 points. The philosophy of Lord Chaitanya, 10 points. So it was called Dashamula Tattva. Everyone in the Mata had to know, whether you're Pujari, at least those basic 10 points. So you have a good philosophical understanding. So he also instructed, but his disciples, don't simply flip around pages of some books, riffle through books. and carry them around like an ass. Better to read a few and know them thoroughly. Don't simply have a big library and here 2 pages, 3 pages here, 4 pages here, 5 pages here. No. Few books, read it thoroughly. Actually, if you know, during his initiation, he would actually suggest which book you should be an expert in. Like for some, he'd give initiation, he'd say, read Chaitanya Charitamrita. And even for our Prabhupada, when he gave initiation, I told this last time, he said, study Nectar of Devotion book, exactly, Nectar of Devotion. And then he would say, your guru will tell you which book to read one by one. So after you finish your book, consult your guru. That's how he had set up his training there. So your guru would suggest which books to read. In those days, especially when, people had more time to read and there was already no knowledge of Sanskrit and Bengali. So, they could automatically read. He didn't need much English translations like we do now. We need so many Prabhupada books. So, and then in those days also, if you know about his classes, it was not like half an hour or 45 minutes and you don't dare give him a topic. He spoke for 2 to 4 hours, morning to lunch. You cannot sit there and say, and when you listen to an authoritative, exalted personality like him, I don't think you would feel hungry or anything because it's so much, the nectar. He would speak in the morning to afternoon, then in evening 4 to 8. And when he spoke, he primarily spoke on Tattva. And when he spoke on Leela also, he spoke it through the lens of Tattva Gyan. Actually, to speak 4 hours on philosophy or Tattva is not a joke. It's not easy. He would say why, and then sometimes he'd clarify why he speaks so long. No one can enter into bhakti without understanding the worthlessness of other viewpoints and theories in this world. I try my best to explain these faults, and for this reason my discourses are long. Especially to remove all misconceptions and mayavad in everyone's heart. He would also, his lectures were deep, but he would also provide fresh views or fresh ideas and fresh realizations every time on the same verse. Like Janmadiya Sriyata, he spoke for 6 months, and every day he had another viewpoint to it. Because his heart was so transcendently rich. His Bhagavatam classes were never in sequence. So one time a big man or government personality went to Radhakund and offered Dandavat, and the disciples told him, "Oh, see, Guru Maharaj is such a government personality's come." And Sarasvati Thakur said, "Okay, that's good, but he is worshipping Radha because of his connection with Krishna. We worship Krishna only because of his connection with Radha." That's how he turned things upside down. And another time he said, "Hiranyakashipu better proclaim the glory of Narsingadev than did Prahalad Maharaj." And he would explain that whole thing how. So he also said, without lacerating, what is lacerating? This barbed wire, this fence with those steel things, yeah. Without lacerating Kudarshana, which is wrong philosophy, by Sudarshana, with correct philosophy, no one can attain Bhagavad Darshana. So that's why his mission was to totally lacerate or remove all in our heart, all the mayavad, all the misconceptions, all the wrong things we had in our heart. So, and that's how he would speak so long. And then when Prabhupada was recommended for initiation, Saraswati Thakur said, "Yes, I have observed him. He likes to hear." Because no one would sit for 4 hours regularly. Half of them would get up, which he never liked. But Prabhupada would like to hear. He said, "Yes, this boy likes to hear." And Srila Prabhupada also won Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's heart at a Vyasa Puja. He had composed a nice poem. You might be familiar with it. He composed a nice poem and he sent it, and then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur read it. And the one couplet he really liked and appreciated was, "Absolute is insentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast removed." Saraswati Thakur, in the simple stanza, he said, Abhay had captured the essence of my preaching. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta took it as an indication of how well Abhay knew the mind of his Gurudev. Abhay was delighted when he heard the couplet was pleasing to spiritual master. One of Abhay's godbrother compared this verse by Abhay to a verse in which Rupa Goswami has expressed the Manobhishta of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur then showed that couplet and poem. The absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast removed. He showed it to many of his confidential disciples and devotees. And then he said, whatever he writes, publish it. That's when he said, whatever our Prabhupada writes, Abhay Charan, publish it. Because, all our acharyas, whether Shankaracharya, Madhva, Ramanuja, Saraswati Thakur, and even Prabhupada, they forcefully, vigorously spoke against Mayavad. And Saraswati Thakur especially took it up strongly. And even Prabhupada, he added in his Guru Mantra. At that time his disciples didn't know Sanskrit, so he composed the Guru Mantra. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He is uplifting the Western country pervaded with Nirvishesha and Shunyavad, this voidism and Mayavad, impersonalism, because he imbibed it from his Guru. Sometimes Prabhupada would say, I learned some bhakti music from my father, but how to preach, how to do book distribution, I learned from my Guru Maharaj. So that's why, and then Saraswati Thakur also would say, and Prabhupada also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, real devotees do not speak to satisfy their audience. Don't speak to please Janata, but speak to please Janardhan. Public may not like our message, yet it is incumbent upon us to state the truth. Our responsibility to strongly refute ideologies opposed to Vaishnava Dharma. Our previous acharyas did so, and our duty is to follow them. Unless we fairly speak the truth, Guru and Gauranga will not be pleased. Unless one is fixed in truth, he cannot fearlessly present the truth. And Saraswati Thakur was also, some people flung stones at him. And at one time his life was challenged, that Bhakti Pragna Keshava Maharaj dressed up as him. And then, his disciples took away Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So he would fearlessly present the truth. And, one day he was sick and he was taken to a doctor. So the doctor said, your voice is weak. You need to take a rest for some few days. Saraswati Thakur then said, life is meant for glorifying Hari. If that is stopped, what is the purpose to continue living? And even Prabhupada was one time asked, Prabhupada, can you tell something about Saraswati Thakur? He just paused and he said, what can I say? He's a Vaikuntha man. That's all. He just stopped there. People like to hear about all these other Superman, this man, that man, but Saraswati Thakur, he said, is a Vaikuntha man. So my Guru Maharaj, when he put these 3 volumes book, he said this is only an introduction to the great Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. He wants Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, the message of Bhaktisiddhanta, the personality of Bhaktisiddhanta to be spread all over. Because, if you go to schools today or anywhere, you see all some other Swamis, and it shows that Bhaktisiddhanta is not so well known. For example, when we go to distribute this book, sometimes people ask, okay, but what did he do? The professor, what did he do? He loved Krishna. Okay, so he gave us Prabhupada. He's like, what did he do? They want some Jack Welch or they want, So that's how people are thinking nowadays. So we need to spread this message of Saraswati Thakur, his life, his glories everywhere. I just wanted to stop here because I want to do this bhajan and read the translation. So His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Do you have any questions unless we set up? We set up? Yeah, sure. By the way, if you don't have this book, if you're interested, let me know. Please read it like you read Leelamrit. You need to know about Saraswati Thakur's mission also. If I can help, answer anything, I'll help.
I had this question that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had spoken, so many classes and a lot of books were lost.
Okay.
So I've also heard that it has been sabotaged and to some extent it is all completely lost. Almost about 70-80%.
I don't know how much, 70-80%, I can't say percentage, but I know it was lost. Some of the books he just left in manuscripts. For example, he wanted to compose a book called Vaishnava Manjusha. That book never finished, and he had left it in manuscripts. And there was few other books also, but never got published. So, and I don't know about sabotage, but I surely know some copies were lost. And it's a Kali Yuga playing with us. All Shastras keep getting lost. Even Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita first commentary, first edition he had published before leaving for US got lost. Someone stole it. And his wife also sold some books. So we have to manage with what we have. Thanks. Any other question? Okay. So this is a song, we'll read the translation. Prabhupada wrote when he was on the Jaladuta. So, he glorifies his spiritual master a little. So we'll just read the translation. Is the translation there or no? Yeah. Is the translation there or no? I'll read the translation. No. I'll just read the translation. Oh brothers, the Supreme Lord Krishna will bestow virtue upon you, but he will do this only when Srimati Radharani first becomes pleased with you. Thus, this I surely declare to you. The next one, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati. Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is very dear to Lord Gauranga, the son of Mother Sachi, is unparalleled in his service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. He is that great saintly spiritual master, most magnanimous within this universe, who bestows devotion to Krishna in various places throughout the world. His desire is very powerful, and thus he is causing the holy name of Lord Gauranga to spread throughout all the countries of the Western world, in all cities, towns and villages on the earth, extending to all the oceans, rivers and streams. Everyone may chant the names of Krishna and Rama. Thus all directions will be conquered by a flood of transcendental ecstasy flowing with the excessive mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When all the miserable living entities that have been corrupted by Maya become happy, then the Vaishnava's desire is fulfilled. Although my Guru Maharaj ordered me to accomplish this mission, I am unworthy to do it, being very fallen and incompetent. That being the case, O Lord Krishna, your mercy is today arising in a befitting manner to make me become worthy, for you are the wisest of all. If you bestow your divine power, then one attains a factual substance which is service to the spiritual master, and life becomes successful. If that service is obtained, then one becomes truly satisfied and ultimately receive your association due to good fortune. Next one. Okay. Because there's a Prahlad Maharaj verse he put here which we will not chant. Okay, Tumi More. O Lord Krishna, you are my eternal companion. Forgetting you, I have suffered the kicking of Maya birth after birth. If today the chance to meet you occurs again, then surely I'll be able to rejoin you. O my dear brother, in your company, I will experience great joy once again, wandering about the pastures and fields. I will pass the entire day with you in tending cows, joking with you and frolicking throughout so many forests of Raja. I will enjoy pastimes of stealing and eating one another's lunch. When will that day be mine? Today, the remembrance of being with you came to me in a very nice way. Feeling great longing, I called out for you. O Lord Krishna, only because I am your eternal servant do I desire your association. Except for you, I have no other refuge. We'll just chant this. We'll come down a little. tava punye ave bhai. Krishna tava Krishna tava punya beba Krishna tava punya beba He punya koribe jade Radharani खुशी हवे ध्रुवाति बोली तो माता कृष्ण तव बेबा कृष्ण तव पुण्य बेबा सिद्धांत सरस्वती सच्ची सुत प्रियाते कृष्ण सेवाया जर तुलना सुत प्रिय कृष्ण सेव्या जर तुलना से मोहंत गुरु जगते मध्य उरु कृष्ण भक्ति देयतायता हे कृष्ण तव पुण्य बेबा कृष्ण तव पुण्य बेबा इच्छा बलवान पश्यते तान तान होई जाते गौरंगेरा नाम पृथ्वी अति नगरादि समुद्र नद नदी सकले बोलो कृष्ण हे कृष्ण तव पुण्य बेबा कृष्ण तव पुण्य बेबा आनंद होय तबे होय दिग्विजय चैतन्य कृपार अतिशय माया दुष्ट जात दुखी जगते सबाई सुखी वैष्णवेरा इच्छा पूर्ण हे कृष्ण तव पुण्य बेबा कृष्ण तव पुण्य बेबा शेखर जाजे कोरी बारे आज्ञा जाडी दिलो मोरे योग्य नाही आती दिनाई ना कैसे तुम्हारा कृपा कृपा मागितेची अनुरूपा आजी तुम्ही सर्वत्र दिना Krishna tava punya beba Krishna tava punya beba This only one line is here, okay? Then turn it, wait, turn. Tomara se shakti pele guru se bya vastu mile जीवना स्वतः का जड़ी जैसे सेवा पहले ताले सुखी हाले तब तब सरी का भाग्य ते मिला ऐसे सेवा सुखी Krishna tava punya beba Krishna tava punya beba Tumi mora chira sate boli amar rati kai dachi janma janmantare Tumi mora chira sati boli amar rati kai dachi janma janmantare Aji puna esu joga jadi hai joga yoga tabe pare tu mili bare Aji puna esu Krishna tava punya beba Krishna tava punya beba तुम्हारा मिलन भाई अब से सुख पाए गोचरण गुरु दिन कथा बने छूटा छूटी बने काए लूटा लूटी से दिन का ब्याह बेमां Krishna tava punya beba Krishna tava punya beba Aji se suvidha hala tomara smarana baila bhoro asada kilanta Ami tomara nitya dastai kore to das tumi bina anya gatina Ami tomara nitya dastai kore to asha tumi bina Hey Krishna tava punya beba Krishna tava punya beba First. Krishna tava punya beba Krishna tava punya beba Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Sachi Shuta Priyati Krishna Se Bhajati Tulana. Se Mohanta Guru Jagat Tere Madhye Guru Krishna Bhakti De Taika. Krishna Tava Punya Beba, Krishna Tava Punya Beba. Krishna Tava Punya Beba, Krishna Tava Punya Beba. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Tava Punya Beba, Krishna Tava Punya Beba. Krishna Tava Punya Beba, Krishna Tava Punya Beba. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada ki, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada